Coming out as gay means you may not get your diploma. Good evening and welcome to Give Me a Break. I'm Jonathan Carmody. You're about to meet a student who says the school is withholding her diploma because she says she posted on social media that she was gay. When the school found out about it, they said they not only withhold the diploma, but she violated the policy, their social media policy. Now she's not only suing the school, but she's also claiming that they didn't follow their own policy. So what in the world is going on? And what does the school have to say? Take a look.
A star athlete, Morgan Armstrong, is familiar with the spotlight, but she knew posting these photos online would reveal just how harsh those lights can be.
It was nerve-wracking to post it because I knew everyone was going to have a different opinion. Some would love it, some would hate it.
Not long after posting that she was gay, showing photos with her girlfriend, the senior at Tennessee Christian Preparatory School was called into the office along with her father.
I figured it was the social media post that I posted with my girlfriend.
The family says the school provided this letter referring to this, a private message Armstrong sent to friends, asking for their support, writing, "Go like and comment on my post. I have some ruthless, Trump-supporting Jesus MFs on there." The school wrote, Morgan posted on social media platforms, such as Instagram, a disparaging remark reflecting the people at Tennessee Christian. The comment reflected on the institution, faculty, staff, alumni, and students in the most negative way possible. Armstrong says nowhere in the private message did she mention the school, and she was actually talking about a relative.
Morgan did not write anything about the school at any time. She didn't post anything about the school, and her private message was not about the school.
Still, the school suspended her, banning her from campus and graduation, holding her diploma until next month, and writing, if the slander continues, records of posts and messages will be forwarded to colleges and universities.
I was shocked, and then I went to anger.
The district's policy on students using social media urges caution, saying their posts reflect the school community. Writing students can't write disparaging or harassing remarks about the school's community members. And there are tiers of punishment. According to the lawsuit, a first-time social media violation should result in just 1 day of in-school suspension. There may be people that will claim, look, this is a private Christian school. They set the rules, and you sign up for that when you pay tuition.
That's okay. Follow your own disciplinary policy, which the school did not do here.
On the day she was supposed to graduate, Armstrong and her family held a small protest, holding a graduation banner, even if she doesn't yet have a diploma.
I'm not really sure how they can legally threaten to withhold it because she speaks her truth.
I did call and repeatedly emailed the head of schools for Tennessee Christian Preparatory, which is located near Chattanooga, but they did not respond. The family's lawyer here in Nashville says Armstrong hasn't even been able to take her finals yet. The lawsuit seeks to allow Armstrong to finish her tests, get her diploma, and forbid the school from reaching out to colleges. We're going to let you know what happens. Lauren?
All right, Jeremy, thanks.
And this chunky salsa. Authentic.
I would not let that happen. I would never let that happen. If one of my friends came out as gay and they posted on social media, I wouldn't know about it either way, shape, or form. But the fact you gotta understand is that they have social media policies. They say you cannot, but she didn't say anything negative about the school. That's false allegation right there. Now, if I were to say anything bad, they would bar me from school property. Well, I'm not on your school property, and I'm outside Tennessee. I'm in Texas. What are you gonna do? Sue me? It's freedom of fucking speech. Freedom of speech. And you're gonna sit there and wave that flag and say we don't support free speech? look at the Supreme Court cases. There was one Supreme Court case where the student got suspended for posting a photo on social media, and the Supreme Court sided with the school, saying this, and that.
Tennessee High School.
Now, there were some comments on the video suggesting over 800 comments like, "We live in a crazy times where diploma can't be withheld for someone's sexuality. She meant to message to friends. One of her friends is not a friend." She did not mention the school in the private message. So the school leadership assumed that she was. It speaks volumes more about the school than her. She didn't mention the school, nor she was even referring to it. If the school was so worried about the reputation, this ain't helping. The fact there's even a womb on her when you post social media, that is all strange and overbearing. Another reason why private schools should never receive taxpayer money. It's school choice, and there's no reason why one teacher is on trial for statutory rape. Next, some elementary students are going to court to testify against the elementary teacher who they claim he did some inappropriate things. The trial begins when we come back. The story. Stay with us. Welcome back. You might remember we showed you a body cam footage of a principal not knowing about protocols. Well, this officer is attended a board meeting to discuss all matters. It was in Ohio, and the Columbus police officer went before the board, confronting city schools on those protocols. So, this is Columbus officer confronts school board after being denied access to school. So, what are the proper protocols, and what is the Ohio School District doing? Here's Ann Hoffman.
Connor made it clear he was not at the meeting in an official capacity, just to address what he says is a serious issue. He's talking about an incident in March when police were called to Ridgeview Middle School to investigate a threat, which the school deemed was not credible. Body camera video shows a heated disagreement with Connor, the school secretary, and Principal Natalie James. The secretary would not let police inside the school without a security escort. Connor questions them, saying it's official business. Principal James eventually comes in and tells Connor she doesn't think he has her safety in mind. Tonight, Connor told the board officers that work on his shift believe James is hard to deal with. He also said they have to go there often. Records from CCS show police have been called to Ridgeview for a disturbance or assault at least 8 times this school year. Connor says he's frustrated.
2 months later, I have received no direction from Dr. Chapman nor any of the Board of Education of how and what your protocol is in schools dealing with police. I have left 3 messages with Dr. Chapman to call me. I have not received no response. The Fraternal Order Police has written her a letter requesting to sit down and discuss protocol. That has not happened, nor has she responded. I think this is a very serious issue, and it's not being handled properly.
The school district tells me it is still investigating this incident and would send me a more official statement response to Connor's comments. I'm still waiting on that.
And everyone's still waiting. Let's look at it. Let's look at
video.
Let's look at it from the comments of the video. Over almost 70. Why are charges not filed? My hard-earned property tax dollars going to the Columbus Public Schools is not effective. I am tired of paying thousands of dollars a year for this. It's time to end property tax and find a better way to pay for this daycare center. You need to listen to the full body cam footage. There was no circumstance that required him to enter the building escorted. The required escort was reasonable. He was to meet a specific security officer as arranged. Officer Carter went all the way to the top of his emotions. The bigger question is whether this officer is fit to be a police officer. He was cool on a power trip. Principal didn't feel the police were here for her safety. Oh, Piggy is frustrated. Oh yes, people can be frustrated.
Connor's comments, I'm still waiting on that.
People can be...
Well, Wesley Chapel mother says that...
Well, people can just be outright upset that nothing happened. But the thing is, if you're being... It was a school threat. You know, if somebody posted a threat on social media, officers have to investigate it. And, you know... I mean, if Sheriff Chip were to come on and look at this and say, you know, if there was threat being active, you should investigate it. You need to call the school district to let them know what happened. Even if it was on social media, you would still know. Bullying is back on the news. A Tampa Bay mother is taking bullying concerns to court. She says her daughter was bullied repeatedly at school and online. She turned to the school district for help, and when the bullying continued, the case was taken to court. How long did this take? This was a lawsuit from Pasco County. This was a lawsuit from Pasco County, Florida. And for the mother you'll meet tonight, she is sick and tired of being bullied. Now, this is also going up on the Stop Bullying Speak Up group on Facebook. Join that in the description below. Take a look.
Tasha says she moved her family from Ohio to Wesley Chapel for the same reasons that draw many to this booming suburb: a better quality of life and a fresh start somewhere new. But for Tasha, we're not using her real name to protect her children's identities. Dreams of a fresh start with her 3 daughters quickly turned into a nightmare. It began with texts like this one from her 13-year-old, her oldest. "Mom, can you come get me?"
A young boy walked her to her classes. He's shared some classes with her. And this started a whirlwind and months of heartache for my daughter.
Tasha is describing her daughter's first day at Thomas E. Waitman Middle School last September. Tasha says that the bullying began the next day. Name-calling, racial slurs, even photos of her daughter taken in the school's locker room and posted on social media.
How many times did you go to school leaders or the district?
I lost count of how many times I've been in the school.
And what was their response?
It was always, we're going to talk to the parents. We spoke to the child. It's not going to happen again. Then they done something called a no contact order.
Tasha didn't stop there. She says she went back time and again to the school's district for help, requesting mediations and asking for meetings with school leaders, board members, even with the superintendent himself.
They asked her if she was fearful. She told them yes.
Frustrated, Tasha called the Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
How many times?
Probably a total of around 6 times.
So, Tasha took her daughter's case to the courts. According to these Pasco County court documents, a judge took the allegations seriously enough to sign an injunction forbidding the accused bully from stalking Tasha's daughter.
Did the bully break that order?
She's broken not only the school order of the no contact, she's broken the civil order that was given to my daughter by a judge.
A few days later, Tasha received the final report from the school.
Their final conclusion was that has indeed been bullied, cyberbullied, harassed at the hands of this one child. And instead of giving any type of consequence to the child, They gave me a paper that says you cannot move your child outside the school.
8 on Your Side contacted the Pasco County School District about this case. A spokesperson cited a statute forbidding them from sharing confidential student information, but wrote, "We can assure you that our district strictly and ardently complies with both our anti-bullying school board policies and Florida law. We're not identifying the accused bully because of her age either, but we reached out to the attorney representing her family, William Anderson. Anderson gave us this statement reading in part, 'My client and her family have been victimized enough.' Anderson goes on to ask that we not identify the accused bully or her family in our story. As for Tasha, she says her 13-year-old couldn't take it anymore, so she moved her daughter back to live with the girl's grandmother in Ohio. And when her own lease is up in Wesley Chapel, Tasha says she and her other daughters will join them.
I feel like I failed her. I feel like the community failed her. I feel like the school system failed her.
Tasha says the school district offered her daughter a Hope Scholarship to enroll in a different school. But Tasha says transportation was not part of the deal, a challenge for a single mom with 2 other little girls.
It sounds, Brittany, like this mom did everything she could think of to do, took every legal measure at her disposal, and still this is where we're at. Do we have any sense of how often this happens? Is this an isolated case?
Well, Jen, that's a great question. There are certainly studies of bullying that is happening in Florida K through 12 schools, but because of those confidentiality laws that we just mentioned, it's really impossible to know how many cases are happening within a specific school. But Tasha claims that there are at least 3 other parents with children at Thomas E. Waitman Middle School who contacted her and say they pulled out their kid because of bullying within that same school.
All right. Thank you. And if you have something that we'd like Brittany to investigate, you can call the 8 on Your Side helpline, 1-800-338-0808.
Okay. I do not tolerate kind of this. Let me tell you, parents are the last resort. If you feel like your child's being bullied, there are steps you take. They reported it, but the bully kept violating not just the school order, but the civil order. It's a restraining order. It could be a piece of paper like this, stating saying like this. One copy of the child. This is your restraining order. If you violate it, you're going back to jail. That's how it is with restraining orders these days. If you violate your restraining order, you cannot be within this amount of distance. You cannot be within the amount of distance from that person or persons. So if the victim violates restraining order of the bully cannot be within this amount of feet. If that happens, there could be no jail time. There needs to be jail time. You violate your restraining order, you're going to jail. You violate the school order, you go to in-school suspension. And look, did the victim's parents contact the bully's parents? I don't know. If they contacted the bully's parents and told them, it'll be with their hair on fire going all, your child bullied my child, and and then the bully's parents will be like, no, someone be like, no, why are you crying now? No. Chuck E. Cheese, you want to see our mouse pull the refrigerator out? A fucking mouse back there. Pull it up. What's my feet? Bunny feet. Bunny feet. Bully's birthday? Here. Happy birthday. Scrambled eggs. Good at weenies with scrambled egg and tomato sauce. You want a hot dog, bud? Well, get a piece of bread and fold it. Get a piece of bread and fold it. A tortilla, get a piece of bread and fold it. Hot dog bun, get a piece of bread and fold it. The bully should be punished, suspend her. the same shit. School order, restraining order, or suspension. This is the same shit. You know, not many school districts care about bullying. They create the bullying laws are created, and you know what happens? It goes right back to the fucking shit that happens. Why? I think people allow bullying to happen. You know why? Because the parents defend, the bully's parents defend them. The parents defend the bully, and they'd be like crying, saying, "Man, see, y'all gotta understand, my sweet little Timmy would never, ever pick on that person." It's always about defending the bullies. You surely didn't fail your daughter. You did everything in your power to help her. Shame on that bully and the school system. Sickening and unacceptable. The school system was very aware that that there was a problem, and the parents of the bully were aware of that, what the child was doing. And neither one of them did nothing to solve the problem. Parents, if you have a bully in your home, if your child's being a bully, you need to talk to them. Don't punish me. If you want to punish the bully, punish the bully. And for the parents out there, for the parents of the story, you did everything in your power. You filed a lawsuit, you reported it, you filed a lawsuit, you reported the school, you reported the police, hired an attorney, you sued the school. I mean, what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. Aren't you that child that got bullied? Yeah, it was a rough time. Ooh. You have a question? Ooh. No. When you go to somebody in authority that's being bullied, that's not tattling. Because we think like, oh, nobody likes to tattletale. Well, telling somebody you're being victimized, you're being bullied, that's not tattling. It is an ongoing event. You know, I'm passionate about cleaning up our community, setting better examples, music, and bullying. Just to name 4. This is the loneliest times in a child's life. And believe me, you never want to leave your child alone. You never ever want to do that. Telling is not tattling. Up next, a math teacher goes to court, but he's being testified by elementary kids. Please stay with us. Could you ever imagine your math teacher touching you inappropriately? You report it to the school district, and then months later, you're required to testify against the teacher. The parents don't know it. Your child is required to testify against your math teacher. Well, that's exactly what happened. One elementary school math teacher is going to court, and the elementary kids are testifying against him because of what happened. We first focused in on this story when we brought you scandals in our schools from courtesy of Project Baltimore. Now, he's on trial, and he could be facing some prison time. Here's Rebecca Pryor.
Service dogs, trained to comfort and support, present inside an Annapolis courtroom today. Despite objections, the dogs would elicit sympathy from the jury, a circuit court judge allowing them to be hidden under the witness stand as a group of elementary school students testified to the disturbing acts they say their former math teacher hid under his desk. Prior to his arrest in May of last year, Matthew Schlegel, accused of sexually assaulting students for nearly 2 years inside of Severna Park Elementary. According to investigators, the alleged abuse taking place behind an L-shaped desk tucked in the corner of his classroom. The first witness to take the stand, a 10-year-old girl now in 4th grade. Testifying while Schlegel sat at one side of the desk, she would often stand at the other. She wanted to be close for additional help with her schoolwork. Instead, she claims Schlegel began touching her inappropriately under her shorts and shirt. Today, defense attorneys declining to comment after questioning the girl for nearly 4 hours, at points causing her to appear confused and overwhelmed. When asked to clarify when the touching occurred, the girl saying it was either every day or every other day. That's why I keep saying a different answer every time. Later, a classmate testifying the girl consistently worked behind Schlegel's desk. Although no abuse was witnessed, the classmate claiming nothing could be seen from the waist down. The defense asking, he didn't sit behind the desk all day, did he? Most of the time, when I was in math class, he did, the child responded.
I taught with Matthew.
Paula Hendry says prior to Schlegel's 16 years in Severna Park, she worked with him for about 7 years at Tyler Heights Elementary.
I'm 69 years old. I taught school for 41 years. Matthew Schlegel is one of the finest teachers I ever worked with. As a human being, he's one of the finest human beings I've ever known. And these charges are just outlandish.
Schlegel's defense arguing the case is based in emotions, not fact. They say a group of misguided parents have manipulated their children to conspire against Schlegel. But so far, any possible motive remains unknown.
And is this maybe why the
No, I'm done. That's all I want to say.
Later today, the first witness's mother took the stand. She was brought to tears several times throughout her testimony. When Schlegel was first removed from the classroom, she says she was unaware of the present allegations. They were only revealed to her, she says, after she found a concerning note on her daughter's iPad. Now, court adjourned before the defense could finish their questioning of that witness, so that mother will be the first to take the stand first thing tomorrow morning. Reporting live in Annapolis, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video.
But now let's hear what the now let's hear more what the defense has to say about this.
It's not your products.
Let's look at those new details.
Wrote on her
Disgusting.
Wondering why her third grade math teacher suddenly stopped coming to school. Was he a doctor in disguise? A 9-year-old girl wrote on her iPad. Because he would always touch us, she said in court. We thought that maybe he was a doctor. Her mother telling the jury before finding the note she had no idea Matthew Schlegel had been accused of sexually assaulting another student, which was the reason for his removal from Severna Park Elementary last March. Since then, 8 girls coming forward, claiming Schlegel touched them inappropriately throughout the school day. Alleged abuse, investigators say, happened behind an L-shaped desk tucked in the corner of his classroom. But today, the defense attempting to paint a different picture, suggesting a group of misguided parents manipulated their children to conspire against Schlegel. Reading text messages from the mother discussing the possible payout of a civil lawsuit. The defense asking, you hired lawyers with the intention of making money off this case, did you not? You and the other parents are going to get rich. That's the goal, right? Disgusting, the mother replied. You're insane if you think that's why any parent would go through this. Our children were abused. Shifting through more text messages, the defense also accusing the mother of attempting to hire a private investigator to track down more alleged victims, despite authorities advising her to keep the matter confidential and leave the investigating to them. The defense arguing the allegations exploded only after the mother was involved. Through tears, the mother telling jurors her daughter is not the same child she was, describing her as withdrawn, afraid of going to school or being without her parents. She called the emotional toll indescribable, adding the payout she's seeking is justice.
Fox 45 has chosen not to share the mother's name to protect the identity of her child. So far, no civil lawsuits have been filed. Due to the upcoming holiday, the trial is expected to resume on Tuesday. Reporting in Annapolis, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
That's next week, and we'll let you know what happens. What's the difference between being sprayed and being tasered? When we come back, we'll tell you the difference, and we're also going to tell you the great time to use a taser and pepper spray. Stay with us. Okay, this is one of these pepper spray belt clip cans that you can buy in any store. It is used for self-defense, and many states make it legal for you to protect yourself by using one of these. This is a stun gun. It is used to also protect yourself from danger. Some of these come with a belt holster. A lot of times these will come not just with a flashlight, a bright flashlight, but it can be helpful. You have to make sure you charge it late at night. But we're not just talking about the taser. When is the right time? When is the right time to use a pepper spray, and when is the right time to use your taser? If like last season, we did a whole special about how to stay safe in America. If you're being attacked, you have to defend yourself. That's why when you see me walking down the streets in Fire Bluff, I carry pepper spray and a taser for my protection. Only because I want to be safe walking the streets. So, pepper spray should be used in self-defense tool only. When you or someone else is in immediate danger or physical harm for a person or animal, it's a tool to deter temporarily incapacitate an attacker to allow for escape, not when to be used for pranks or arguments. So if you're being in-called, you should never, if someone calls you a pussy or calls you a bitch, don't use pepper spray. But if you feel like you're being assaulted or if you're in danger, use that pepper spray, run away, and call 911 and let them know what happened. To elaborate on this, it's designed to be used defensively, meaning you should only deploy it when you're facing a real immediate threat. Gut instinct. Trust your gut instinct. If you feel your safety is in jeopardy, you are justified in using your pepper spray. Avoid close contact. The whole point of pepper spray is to create a distance and allow you to escape, so avoid being in close contact with your attacker. Misuse of pepper spray can have legal consequences, so it's important to understand when and how to use it appropriately. Pepper spray can be effective if temporarily incapacitating an attacker, allowing you to escape and potentially call for help. Which brings us to our next weapon. Which are all they call help. This is a whistle. This is a whistle. When you blow the whistle, it's a cry for help. If you're being attacked, you blow the whistle, and someone will come in there and help you out, even if your life is in danger. If you're being attacked, you blow that whistle. Now, legal consequences. You use it as a prank, there's legal consequences. But pepper spray laws by state. Texas is not just the only state. I mean, looking at... So, let's look at the states. Look, most of these greens are legal, while 35 states make it legal for self-protection, while 16 states make it legal but with restrictions. Let's look at California. In California, California State Vision, no. Damn it. California cannot be sold to minors. Product containers cannot be seen 2.5 ounces. That's in California. In Arizona, product container cannot exceed 150 cc. In Hawaii, pepper sprays in jail cannot be sold online and cannot contain more than 1/2 ounce. In Illinois, it cannot be sold to minors. In Massachusetts, you're required to have a license to sell or carry a pepper spray in jails. Only licensed firearms dealers can sell pepper spray in jails. Those aged 15 and 18 must obtain a firearms ID card in order to purchase. In Michigan, only savory red formula is permitted. The savory 3-in-1 formula is not currently legal. The state of New Jersey says it cannot be sold to minors. Product canisters cannot contain more than 0.75 ounces. In most of these, the rest of these are legal. Registration form must be completed and purchased. That's the District of Columbia. Florida, product canisters cannot exceed 2 ounces. In Maryland, it's legal, but it cannot be sold to minors. In the state of Minnesota, pepper sprays in jails cannot be processed by anyone under the age of 16 without written permission or legal guardian. The rest of these are perfectly legal. That's why America has 50 states. In Texas, you can defend yourself. You can sell pepper spray or gels and guns as well without ID. Now let's look at a taser. Because remember, it is your safety. We're talking about your safety here. And if your life is in danger, like if you're going towards somebody and your life is in danger, under Texas law, if your life is threatened, you have a legal right to use deadly force. That's under Texas law. And if you say you were defending yourself, you will not be arrested. You go to the officer saying, I was just defending myself, the officer will tell you, we're just defending yourself. There's no charge, there's no arrest. In my case, I'm not going to explain what happened, but the officer told me that I was in the right and I had a legal right to defend myself. It is perfectly legal to defend yourself in the state of Texas, while other states make it illegal to carry pepper spray and a taser. Look up your state laws. If you live in your state, look up your state laws. The right time to use a taser, whether by law enforcement or in self-defense, is a complex issue involving legal, ethical, and practical considerations. Let's break it down for y'all. Meaning the self-defense part. Zoom in here, I can see it. There we go. In self-defense, imminent threat. You can generally use a taser in self-defense when there is a reasonable belief or imminent threat of harm. Where you are facing or others are facing immediate danger. Proportional response. The use of a taser must be appropriate to the threat. Using a taser for a minor threat might not be justifiable. It's also going to be a last resort. Tasers shouldn't be used as a last resort after attempting de-escalation, leaving the situation, or the non-lethal self-defense options. Now, if you're in law enforcement agencies use a use of force continuum where officers escalate force based on the situation. They generally fall in the less lethal force option. But important considerations. Regarding taser use vary by jurisdiction. It's crucial to be aware of your local laws before processing using a taser. Manufacturer instructions. Always follow the manufacturer instructions for safe and effective taser operation. It can cause injuries, especially misuse of the individual has underlying health conditions. Not guaranteed to be effective. Avoid targeting the head, neck, or groin with a taser. Aim for larger muscle groups. Like, you go for here. If you're using taser self-defense, create a distance and move to a safety after deployment and consider calling for assistance. So, in my case here, if I have a whistle on me, and I go like that, I would still be able to pull out my taser while I'm blowing my whistle. That way I can just tase him, run while blowing my whistle, and then I would go for help. But I'm famous in my community, no one can touch me. In summary, the decision to use a taser should be based on careful assessment of the situation, the level of threat, and the applicable laws. Prioritize de-escalation and non-lethal options whenever possible, and always prioritize your own safety and the safety of others. Now we looked at the use of it. So we looked at the use of a taser, pepper spray. We looked at the laws by state when you own pepper spray. Now let's look at the state laws. Let's look at the laws by state. According to Sunster.com, most of these states have no restrictions. No. Most of these states you see right here, from Washington all the way from Florida to Maine, all of these states right here have no restrictions. North Dakota right here, North Dakota, New Mexico, West Virginia. 3 of these states are permanently required concealed carry. Like in Arizona, verified possession of ID, government ID. Arkansas, no sales under 19. Yes, no sales under 19 felony convictions. Those are the restrictions. In Texas, there's no restrictions. In Wisconsin, look at all these. We're not going to go over all of them, but some states you have a license. You cannot operate on one. You got to have an ID. So, if you're willing to defend yourself, then you can. Let's look at that special again, because we're gonna test your skills. Because if you're in danger, you gotta be safe. Like I said before, we showed you a primetime live video about how to stay safe in America. But what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna test your skills. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take another break.
Oh.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take another break. And when we come back, we're going to test your skills. We're going to put you in front of a situation where you're walking into your car and someone points a gun at you. And we're going to ask, what do you do when that happens? Stay with us. Last season, we showed you how to stay safe in America, from using pepper spray to even going to your car late at night, to even block against communities we even show. That's going to be our next second look, probably in about a week or two. Now we're going to test you with an exercise. So you just got off the train or a bus. You just got off the train, or you're leaving this, or you just got out of the store, and you're going to your car, and somebody comes at you and says, "Give me your money. Give me your wallet." And you give him the wallet. You give him the wallet. You give him jewelry. He runs off. What should you do? Well, let's test your skills and see if you can remember. Here's Sam Donaldson.
A few minutes ago, we showed you a demonstration of a mugging by New York's Nassau County Police. Now, to put your memory to the test. If you're the victim, here are some key questions police will need answered if they're going to catch your mugger. Was your attacker a man or a woman? Ours was a man. What about race? Ours was white. How tall? Ours was 6'2". His weight? Our attacker was 180 pounds. What color was his hair? Ours had blonde hair. Physical characteristics are important. Did he have a scar, tattoo, beard, or mustache? Ours had no identifiable marks, but he was unshaven. What was he wearing? Our attacker was wearing a black vest over a black and red checked shirt and black jeans. Was he right or left-handed? Ours was left-handed, or at least he had the gun in his left hand. The point is, you need to be alert and pay attention so police can put together an accurate description. It's the only way to catch your attacker quickly.
So if you see this happening, you need to tell police immediately. Do not leave the scene of the crime. If your stuff's been stolen, okay. But if you're with your friends while your stuff's being stolen, you whisper to them, take a picture of the attacker. Then you call the police, you say, what'd your attacker look like? My friend got a picture of the attacker. Crystal clear. The cop would see that person and be like, oh, okay. Well, be sure to be on the lookout for him. That's the easy part. Just remember the top of your head. If you want to take a picture, go right ahead. But it's best to remember from the top of your head. Now, Sam Donaldson can tell you more about pepper spray and chemicals.
Chemical repellent. Make it clear that experts say there is no hard rule about whether you should or shouldn't fight back if you're attacked. And what about spraying your attacker with one of those chemical repellents? Mace, which is essentially tear gas, will cause tearing, choking, and a burning sensation. But it's not very effective on people who are high on drugs or alcohol. Pepper spray, made from hot pepper extract, produces an intense burning sensation that can instantly close the eyes of an attacker. including people under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Most police prefer pepper spray because it's more potent than mace. But you should know pepper spray is illegal in Wisconsin, and mace is illegal in Wisconsin, New York, and here in the District of Columbia.
So here's the bottom line for everybody here. If you're going to buy weaponry to defend yourself, know the state laws that you live in. If it's easy for you to carry things without a license, try Texas or look up your state laws. Just search taser laws by state and pepper spray laws by state in the search engine of your choice. Then, if you feel like you still need to defend yourself, it can be very easy just to get a gun. A while back, we told you how hard it was just to get a gun. Now, But you can be going to jail for just for getting a gun. How about getting a gun permit in your hometown? Take a look.
Constipated. The need for fast relief when your backed up gut has you feeling bleh.
What if you want to carry one of these for self-protection? I thought the Supreme Court said you could.
The majority concluded that the right to own a gun belongs to each law-abiding American.
But what does that mean to me in my town?
In New York City, politicians say
majority of the people want sensible gun restrictions.
Sensible restrictions? What does that mean?
Photocopies not accepted.
I tried to get a gun license. They make it very hard. First, you must fill out this 17-page form. The form says I must promise I know the definition of other weapons like
switchblade knife, gravity knife, pylon ballistic knife, metal knuckle knife, a kung fu star. I don't want a kung fu star. I just want a gun for safety.
People sometimes threaten me because they don't like what I say on TV.
I think that's a common sense. I think they have too much security now.
After this appearance, some said I should be shot in the face. So when I travel around town, I'd like to have the option of protecting myself.
Studies show Americans use guns every day to stop crime.
Guns often stop crime.
The robber got more than he bargained for.
Turns the tables on a knife-wielding intruder.
Today, laws in every state allow adults to carry a concealed gun. Many fear this would lead to a surge in gun crime, but the opposite happened.
Violence appears to be dropping.
And yet some towns like Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York City make it nearly impossible for people legally to carry a gun.
This is 50 pages. Who understands this?
It took hours and hours to fill out the forms. We had to call the police department 6 times to clarify what questions meant. Finally, it was done.
I have to get this notarized?
You go ahead and sign here, and I will fill in the rest.
Then you have to go in person to police headquarters. Here, they fingerprinted me, asked me to list reasons why I should be allowed to have a gun, and then they charged me a $430 application fee. They said they'd get back to me. At least they were polite. Others tell a different story.
They're rude right from the get-go.
Robert Martinez served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I have 10 years of military experience.
I think a military vet could keep a handgun in his home for protection, but
it's not so easy.
Why do you want a gun permit?
Because I want to be able to protect my family.
Martinez lives in a New York City housing project.
A couple of months ago, a man was beaten to death out in front of my building. All of a sudden, you hear shots go off, and it's like boom, boom, boom.
So he thought he'd just get a gun license, but that turned out to be an ordeal.
They'll have you there at 9 o'clock when they open up at 10, and they'll have you sitting there until almost 3 in the afternoon.
They serviced me within 90 minutes.
It's John Stossel coming here to get a license. It's not really going to be
so
that
for
big.
You, it was 9 in the morning till 2?
Yeah.
And did you get the permit?
No.
Their attitude is that people don't need guns. We're the police.
The police can't get there. You have a better shot at hitting the lottery than getting a cop on your street exactly at the same time that you get into problems.
The process itself was set up to be an ordeal.
Glenn Herman runs this website which advises people on navigating the regulations.
If you're this expert, I would think it would be easy for you to get people guns.
it's still an ordeal. It's being used as a weapon to deter people from following through the process, which can take as long as a year.
For me, it took 8.5 months. First, they told me I had to return to police headquarters for another in-person interview. This time, they demanded that I prove an accusation against me had been dropped. They said this headline was not enough. I was supposed to produce the original court documents. They also told me I had to document threats against me. Fortunately, I could show them things like this. 52 days later, they sent me a letter rejecting my application for a carry permit. They said I could get a license to keep a gun in my apartment, but I feel safe in my apartment. I want a permit to carry where I might feel threatened, but I was told you failed to demonstrate a special need. The license advisor told me I'd applied for the permit the wrong way.
Friends of the ruling class, that's who gets it. Everyone else, you're out of luck.
Donald Trump got a permit to carry a gun. So did Howard Stern and Robert De Niro.
It should be done through the cronyism way. Maybe you've done work for someone who knows a senator. That's the approach you make. They will get you in front of a judge, and within 2 to 3 days, you will have your permit.
These individuals can afford to pay for security. My family can't. There's no way in hell I'm gonna let this slide.
You may not let it slide, but if you do it the right way, you could be able to get your gun license. They make it hard, they make it easy, depending on what happens. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, no grades, more choice. We're about to visit a school with a bold response to classroom disruption. We're going to Pennsylvania, where classroom disruption is happening. It's always a distraction to the educational process. Take a look.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
I want lifelong learners, but I don't want kids to ever stop loving learning. I think that's the inspirational part, is that a small rural school district can show you can't eliminate grades, you can't eliminate grade levels, you just have to start small, think big, and just go for it. Don't hold back.
Stay Tuned presents The Learning Shift. Classrooms reimagined in the wake of disruption. Sponsored by Walton Family Foundation.
At a school in rural Pennsylvania, a bold experiment is giving kids the chance to shape their own education. 4 years ago, following the nationwide disruption of the pandemic, Laura Jacob, superintendent of the California Area School District, had a big idea. What if she could combine a kid's interest with their academic goals?
We need to develop opportunities and learning experiences for kids that reach them where they are. You can really tie what individual students' interests are with the standards that we're required to meet. And that's where you're going to link kids to lifelong learning and that passion for lifelong learning.
Now the district is trying out a new program, a voluntary experiment where elementary and high school students design their own curriculum. They call it the Moonshot Program.
Things. So the mountain had a lot of water on it. Okay. Of course, that's all gone now. It's all evaporated and that kind of stuff.
Heather Nicholson taught 3rd grade in a traditional school for 22 years. She helped launch the program here.
It was a 1-year deal, so I thought, okay, I could try it for 1 year, and I loved it. And I'm here, and this is year 4.
At the beginning of the school year, students work closely with their teachers to create a curriculum around topics that interest them.
I just asked them, I said, what is your ideal school look like? What would you want to learn if you could learn anything in the world?
And you were working on roller skating, right?
Students pick topics ranging from fashion and motor racing to K-pop and the civil rights era. Using open source AI, Heather then generates a lesson plan that aligns with the state's academic standards. Ridley and Brenly are 2 of the 75 students involved in the program.
I'm working on planet research.
What are these?
I've always thought that space was really interesting.
Right now, I'm studying Mount Olympus.
Mounting research shows competency-based learning can work as well or even better than more traditional education systems. The school is also trying a radical approach, getting rid of standard report cards and number grades.
We know that when children receive a grade, the learning stops. They think that that's the end game. We want kids to have that growth mindset where they constantly seek to pursue challenges and persist.
Instead, students get direct feedback from their teachers.
what makes a mammal, because we're mammals, correct? They don't lay eggs. Right, they don't lay eggs. So I work with them daily. I will assess what they're doing. The feedback then gives that opportunity for the students to internalize it and say, okay, I need to do this better next time.
So what else? I've actually improved my skills instead of just having, 2 wrong answers circled in a number.
Another thing that's different, the space itself where students learn.
You'll see students on the floor, you'll see students at the desk, you'll see students practicing on their computers.
The classroom is made for us to be creative and be able to do things that we want to do.
Yeah, so I need to model some stuff.
And the program appears to be working. The school says Moonshot participants perform 8% higher in English language arts and 47% higher in math on the state standardized testing since starting the program.
I'm in 5th grade, but I take 6th grade reading and math classes.
We're pushing those boundaries for them to grow.
Does that make sense for everyone?
There is this misconception that you have to have a certain GPA or grades to get into the college or university of your choice. But we've had students in the Moonshot program here successfully get into the college of their choice.
And that learning goes beyond the classroom.
They're learning those power skills. They're learning how to communicate with each other. They're learning how to work in groups. They're learning how to do research and how to figure out problems on their own.
That new environment comes with its own set of challenges for students.
They need to have that open mind of the teacher is not going to tell you what to do and just expect you to regurgitate it. You have to really think through, what do you want to learn? Why do you want to learn it? And be able to develop that.
I'm intaking information and trying to learn this stuff myself, which makes it stick with me for a lot longer.
And even teachers have a learning curve to overcome.
It is challenging at times because you kind of have to think, what can I say here? What can I give them to look at?
Getting a grade is very easy. It's very easy. It's just, you check it and see if it's right or wrong, and that's it.
But to Laura and Heather, the challenges are worth it to see firsthand the impact they're having.
The students feel as though they are seen and that their interests matter and their perspectives matter.
I would say I'm a lot more independent with doing stuff on my own.
The Moonshot program has helped me just be creative and really think outside the box.
It also gives them that feeling of, I'm being listened to and I'm being heard and valued. They know that they are important and that what they want to do will be heard. I think that's very empowering for them.
Could that program exceed other schools? We probably won't know. But, as we've seen, it can get kids into great colleges. So if you want that to happen, talk to your school, and they'll certainly help you out. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Friday. Going into Saturday, we'll see you here Second Look Saturday, and next week's finale week. A very special we're going to have a very special Give Me a Break all about Christopher Reeve. It was 30 years ago this year that Christopher Reeve fell off in an accident. And probably on Friday, we're going to have a season finale dedicated to Christopher Reeve. The interview, the injury, and the 2 interviews. It could take a Saturday to do so, but we'll let you know what happens. Follow us here on YouTube and Give Me a Break. Stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. Take care of yourself and each other. Have a good night.